Well, hello all of my sparkling beauties. Welcome back to my channel, Diamond Painting with EchoCraft. I am Echo. And if you are new here, welcome. If you are a regular viewer, thank you for coming back. You are very much appreciated. Since my last video was an instrumental, I wasn't able to explain my plans for the Stingray. I had a plan to incorporate AB 601 and AB 602 in the shading of the Stingray to add more depth and contrast. However, the AB that I used seemed a little dull. I think the AB coating is not as prominent as the AB 603 that originally came in this kit, which is kind of sad because when you look at the Stingray, the added ABs doesn't convey shading in a certain light. It just looks like I have a huge area that is not in ABs when it's supposed to be in ABs. I have debated back and forth whether to pluck them off and replace them with the original ABs, but I really liked the idea that I was going for, and I wanted to fulfill that vision. Now, I am aware that I said that I was going to do this one the way it's supposed to be and customize a different one. This was not supposed to be a customization. I am still planning on doing a future customization for this piece in the future. The reason why I was trying to add shadows to some areas was I just wanted to capture the beautiful shading that was shown on the box, yet missing in the canvas. I had two darker shades of pink that were supposed to be ABs, but the coating of those ABs were a little too subtle. I was hoping that you guys would at least give me your input on what you think of the shading, whether if I need to pluck all of the 602s off and replace them with 603s, or maybe I just need to minimize the shading just a tad bit by plucking some of them off and replacing it with the original ABs, which is what I might do anyways. Maybe not in this video or the next video, but I might do that in the video after the next when I go to complete the Stingray. I may pluck some of those 602s that I placed in his body and place them in the head area because that area does have some shading there, and whatever I have plucked off of his body, I will replace with 603. I probably won't remove all of them off, just minimize the shaded area some. I like the idea of having some shadows from his folded fin. However, I may also minimize that area and replace some of those 602s with 603s. But surprisingly, that area doesn't bother me as much as the shading down his body. If you think it looks okay and doesn't need to be fixed, let me know, but I am sure I would have already changed the drills by the time this video goes public. Your response may help my customizing decision in the future. Okay, now that is out of the way, let's get into today's whip and chat, shall we? I was kind of at lost on what this whip and chat should be about. I knew I wanted to stick to the summer theme, but I wanted it to be fun and interactive, and I figured a Would You Rather Whip and Chat Summer Edition would be fun, interactive, and make you think logically and creatively. I don't think I really need to explain how the Would You Rather game works. Essentially, there is a list of would you rather do this or do that or have this or have that, and the players would give their answers between the two choices. When my family and I played it, we put our own spin on it, and we had to explain our choices by viewing both pros and cons to the two options. A lot of the time our reasonings were a little wacky, fun, and comical, while some of our reasonings were very serious and well thought out. I thought, why not play Would You Rather with you guys and make it summer themed? I looked up some Would You Rather questions online and picked a few that seemed interesting topics. And I figured I would answer them, give my reasonings why, after viewing both sides of the coin. And if you guys want to play along, just leave your answers in the comments. And if you want to tell your reasonings, feel free to do so. And if you want to leave your answer without a reason, you don't have to tell why. And if you guys don't want to play along, you don't have to. I thought this would be something others could respond to if they decide to announce their opinions and engage in conversation. Okay, question 1. Would you rather swim in a pool of noodles or swim in a pool filled with rubber ducks? On one end, if you are very hungry and you love noodles, then I guess a pool of noodles would be the perfect choice to swim in. If you get lost or you can't escape, just eat your way out. However, just to point out, noodles are a lot of carbs and would fill you up quickly. So would you really be able to escape? Noodles can be a little slimy, a little sticky, depending on how you cook them. They can also be very oily too. Noodles can be very slippery while wet, so you may never be able to physically grip onto them good enough to pull yourself to the surface. Your hands would just slip. On the other hand, noodles can dry out, and you may be able to swim your way up to the surface. I don't think one could push their way through noodles as you could through water, but I would like to think that they could try to lay on top of them. I can picture myself laying on top of the noodles, floating there, enjoying the soft bouncy pasta. It may be an experience within itself. I can also visualize the noodles becoming like quicksand and my lying body begins to sink. If so, no one would be able to travel through it or even lay on top. They may end up sinking to the bottom. On the bright side, if they get hungry, they would not be without food. The downside though, noodles are food. Food can be perishable, and cooked noodles can go bad. So what would happen to the pool of noodles after a week left out in the sun? It'll stink for one. But I think the noodles will harden back up, and if anyone was stuck in the never-ending supply of noodles, they may end up being trapped in there. If the noodles dried up, they could try to climb their way out. If they did become trapped, you can eat the noodles if you become hungry or need to escape, but you can't eat rubber ducks. Swimming in a pool filled with rubber ducks sounds fun and whimsical until their beaks and bills are poking your eyes and their tails are digging into your skin. I am assuming this is a pool that has rubber ducks in substitute for the water, meaning this pool doesn't have water in it, only rubber ducks. Every time you apply too much pressure to these bath toys, you hear them squeak. That could get annoying. I can imagine swimming in a pool of rubber ducks would be like swimming in a ball pit. I remember how much fun I had shifting through colorful balls and cannonballing into a ball pit, as I am sure lots of kids did once. I know I would have loved to play in a huge pool of 1,000,000 balls and enjoy every second of it. It is very therapeutic physically and mentally, especially seeing a sea of colorful plastic balls, inviting one to dive in feet first. How could the kid in me say no? I would expect swimming in a pool of rubber ducks would have that same effect, enjoyable and therapeutic in some form, except for the potential harm that one could experience when jumping into a pool of rubber ducks with pointed bills, tails, and heads ready to jab you as you jump in. Unlike the noodles, which are soft, rubber ducks are hard rubber. As much fun as they sound, I don't think it'll be fun for my skin. If I had to swim from one area to the other, I think it could result in some injuries and it could be a choking hazard. Unlike noodles, if they wiggle their way into your mouth, you could just eat them. But rubber ducks, not so much. If a rubber duck found their way into your mouth, it could run a risk of blocking your airway and cause choking. That could be dangerous. However, besides the potential dangers that could come from swimming in a pool of rubber duckies, it does sound absolutely fun. Probably would look more aesthetically pleasing and inviting than a pool filled with cooked noodles. I personally would rather swim in a pool of rubber ducks because it does sound more fun and would be more adventurous. Swimming in a pool of noodles sounds boring and really greasy. What are your thoughts? Question 2. Would you rather be a beach ball at a pool party or a pool floaty at a pool party? Okay, this one is tough. Essentially, would you rather be smacked around or have to constantly hold someone up while they are weighing you down? Beach balls are light, airy, and cause little damage. They are quite entertaining and can provide fun for all of those who play with them. When a group plays beach volleyball, they could hit you up into the air, and depending if you like or don't like heights, it could result on how you would react to that situation. If you don't like heights, you may be screaming the whole way up and the whole way down. This could be traumatizing for you. If you are a thrill seeker, you may be cheering and laughing as you are getting passed back and forth over the net. You are providing lots of fun to others and encouraging active involvement. Depending on how you are enjoying getting smacked into the air and flying high, this could go on for hours. You are giving them hours of fun, but then again, you've been smacked around by a group of people for hours. That doesn't sound fun, but beats me if a beach ball feels any pain. On the bright side, if there was an unruly player or someone you didn't like, it could be satisfying if they missed you and you smacked them in the face. And by the way, I do not condone violence, but you are a beach ball, so you wouldn't inflict serious harm. What could they do about it other than pass you back to the other players? Flotation lounges are also light and airy, but could cause potential danger. They do nothing but float on top of the water, allowing whomever to sit, lay on, to relax. On one hand, you'll be helping others to stay afloat, but on the other hand, people would constantly be laying on you, sitting on you, and basically holding you down under the water. If something happens and you popped or the air is released while someone is laying on you, you could be responsible for sinking someone not meaning to. You are providing relaxation, and some would say that is encouraging laziness, but I would say you would be encouraging mindfulness. People could lay out on floaties for hours in order to meditate and sunbathe, and you are offering that experience to them, meaning that they can lay on you for hours at a time, weakening your stability as they apply a tense amount of pressure, compressing themselves into you. On the bright side, flotation lounges slips underneath the users all the time. If you get tired of others laying on you, you could dunk them and play it off as a natural thing. If they climb back on you, you could do it again and again until they give up and leave you alone. It happens often. If my flotation lounge keeps escaping me or I have trouble getting on it, I will eventually give up and push it to the side. This one was tough because both of them have pros and cons, but I think I'd rather be a beach ball at a pool party because I can see myself laughing throughout the game and aiming for the faces of unruly players. I do enjoy the thrill of roller coasters, bumpy rides, especially in the back of a truck. One time, my husband drove me and my younger sister, who was 19 at the time, in the back of the truck for a festival, and at the end, on our way home, he curved the truck a little too fast and we went down a very bumpy and rocky road, sending me and my sister tumbling and jumping everywhere. My sister was fearful, holding on to me, yet I was laughing throughout the whole adventure. Yes, I could see me laughing as I would ascend up to the sky if I was the beach ball. Plus, who would want to be held down like a pool floaty? Interject if you want. I think this could be a fun and creative one to answer. Question 3. Would you rather stumble upon a talking crab at the beach or a singing jellyfish at the beach? They both seem pretty interesting. Let's dive in. If you meet a crab that could talk, imagine the conversation that you could have. You could interview it, ask it questions, and get an authentic insight into a crab's life. You would be able to learn from it and imagine all of the stories this crab could tell. However, if anyone was approached by a talking crab, I am sure they would scream and run instead of being intrigued that the crab could talk to begin with. Crabs are known to have a long-term memory, but a short lifespan, depending on the type of crab. A blue crab can live up to 3 to 4 years and probably wouldn't have much of a story to tell, the same as a stone crab that can live up to 7 to 8 years. Coconut crabs can live up to 60 years and probably could tell you a wild story from 50 years ago. The same with a hermit crab in its natural habitat. And a spider crab can also live past 60 years. Imagine the stories they can tell. Imagine the awkward conversation you two would have if the crab asked what happened to his family that was gathered by fishermen. Would you have told him the heart-wrenching truth? I don't think I could. Well, if the crab pinched me, I could ask why it pinched me, expecting an intelligent response at least. If he responded in a grumpy tone, then I can reply with, "Someone in a crabby mood." Would a crab be offended by that saying? If I told him that, what would be his rebuttal? Would he look at me and reply with, "Please, seaweed has more spine than you do"? Wow, a human arguing with a crab on a beach? That would surely make the news. The idea of a talking crab went from intriguing to annoying. If you meet a singing jellyfish, what would it sing to begin with? Somewhere Beyond the Sea? What style would it even sing in? Pop? Caribbean? Maybe a Jelly Roll fan? Maybe a calm, soothing tune. Either its singing would hype people up or mellow people out. No one would need to bring a retro boombox or listen to music on the phone. They can just listen to the jellyfish and join in on the songs. Since jellyfish lacks brains, hearts, and respiratory systems, it's a wonder they would be able to sing at all. Considering that they would need a brain to know, comprehend, and remember music, they would need a heart to express their emotions, and they would definitely need a respiratory system to provide the set of pipes that they are showing off. Regardless if the jellyfish is wowing us with its incredible voice, it could still sting us while resting on the shore, which means it might be best for people to keep their distance. Maybe the jellyfish is like a siren and use its singing voice to lure others close to him so he can zap them. The good news is he can't just run towards you as fast as the crab would, so you would have plenty of time to run away from him. Just watch where you step. Others could eventually find the jellyfish obnoxious, but me, I would be fascinated with his musical talents and would rather stumble upon a singing jellyfish because I love music and would probably join him. A singing jellyfish seems like it would be the life of the party. Plus, if the crab begins to annoy me, I can't just walk away because it would probably just follow me chatting away, annoying me even more so. With the singing jellyfish, if it starts to become annoying, I can walk away without it following me. What do you think the jellyfish would be singing? Our last question for this video. Would you rather have your hair turned neon green from the chlorine from the pool, or lose your eyebrows from the chlorine from the pool water? What? Does that really happen? That doesn't happen, does it? I mean, I've heard pool water giving blonde hair a green tint. Matter of fact, my two sisters who are naturally blonde have had this problem a few times before. My oldest sister tried to wash it out, but it eventually faded as time went on. I remember it looked mossy green at her tips, which was much lighter than her roots. However, my little sister's hair turned greenish brown, like baby food sweet pea. I have heard and seen the hair changed colors. I don't think it was neon green, but it has had a green tint. I think it was more from the algae than the chlorine, but I've also heard that it could be a mixture of both substances. But losing your eyebrows? There is no way that is true. If that is true, that would be horrifying. Hold on, I gotta do some research. Okay, hair turns green in the pool due to oxidation of copper from algicides in chlorine, not from chlorine itself. Chlorine can cause eyebrows to become dry, brittle, and break, resulting them to fall out due to natural oils being stripped. Those who are competitive swimmers do claim that their eyebrows have been thinning after decades of swimming. What? Oh, that's scary. This happens to those who are constantly exposed to chlorine all year round. Seasonal swimmers, those who only swim during summers, I'm assuming that is what it means, may experience eyebrows drying up or damaging rather than follicles loss. That is why it's important to wash off after one is done swimming in the pool and lotion up afterwards. This isn't true, right? I don't know. Part of me believes it, while the other part of me doubts it. If anyone can either validate whether or not this is true, you will make me feel better or more scared for my eyebrows. I think this is a no-brainer. I would much rather have my hair turn to green than to lose my eyebrows, because I could always dye my hair, but eyebrows takes forever to grow back. Let me know what you think. Hope you guys enjoy, and see you guys next week for some more soothing summer theme instrumentals. Bye!